Okay, hello everyone. Going to try the Jacob's ladder again, this time with 10 gauge wire for the electrodes. Some, let's see, I believe this is 14 gauge for the power cord. We've added some nice connectors to the ends. Added some nice connectors, and the 10 gauge wire is bent around the leads and is smashed in there with some bolts and some little specially shaped washers. At the tops of the wires we have them bent apart so that it'll help break the arc when it reaches the top. It doesn't always reach the top anyway, but if it does, it can sometimes get stuck there. Something to watch out for is that as you start, especially near the bottom, if you have a little bend in the wire that makes it a little bit closer than it is lower or above, the spark may get stuck there, so you have to tweak it a little bit for that. It always takes some tuning. Now here we have a foot pedal dead man switch. I strongly recommend investing in one for any of these electrical projects, be it Jacob's ladder, Tesla coil, Van de Graaff, whatever. Because it's just a nice added little safety feature. It interrupts the plug, and then we run all the way out here. Don't skimp on the power cables. This is a 14 gauge. It's probably not going to draw all that much current, but even so, better safe than homeless. And we're using 10 gauge wire here because things like 14 gauge and 12 gauge are just a little too floppy. They shake in the wind, and even this 10 gauge you see wobbles quite a bit, quite easily. I think ultimately I'm going to create an actual stand for this and use some thin copper pipe at some point. But let's see how it works. It's kind of slow, and especially if the wind gives it a wobble, it can interfere with how it goes up the line. So you got stuck there a little bit. You see it's not starting all the way at the bottom. It's starting wherever it's easiest to break down the air, which if you look very closely, it's actually a little bit closer, several inches above the bottom. With this arrangement, where it's just bolted, it's kind of hard to get these wires bent perfectly. But this is definitely the easiest and simplest setup. It's literally just a power cord, high voltage transformer, and 2 bare wires for the electrodes. The power, the transformer there, you can get that off of eBay, 120, 150 bucks. This particular one is one I inherited. It's 15,000 volts. Yeah, that one's hanging on for a while. Maybe I should add a more gradual slope to that part. Dead man switch. Very nice. But this is a 15,000 volt neon sign transformer, probably from the early 80s, maybe even late 70s. I inherited this in a 9,000 volt one from my dad, but you can get these off eBay. $120, $150. The power cord, just a standard 14 gauge cord. I added some connectors on the ends, but you don't really have to. And the other one, you can get that at Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store or the internet. Same deal with the bare wire that came from Home Depot today. And that's really all you need. Just exercise extreme caution because this is one of the more dangerous electrical devices you can do. Don't touch anything because it will. This is not a taser. This will kill you. So be very careful. Anytime you gotta make an adjustment, go ahead and unplug it, even with the dead man switch. Just go ahead and unplug it. Better safe than sorry. And that's about all there is to it. So we can watch it again. Sometimes the spark can also get stuck down there. It always takes some adjustment. You might find it easier with shorter electrodes too. See a little bit of the slightest breeze starts to blow the spark downward. Sometimes that happens. With the shorter electrodes, it's a little bit easier to get a more consistent slope, sloping slowly away from each other as you go up. See as the air moves, goes up and down. I think I've got them too close down at the bottom. So, still needs a little bit of adjustment, but clearly functions pretty well. If you guys have any questions, just ask me in comments, and I'll try and troubleshoot with you. Good luck on your electrical things.